October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and according to breastcancer.org, 1 in 8 U.S. women will develop the disease over the course of her lifetime. But early detection can save lives.
That's right. And here to tell us all about what we need to know about the disease and her hit show, The Doctors, is Dr. Rachael Ross. Welcome.
Thanks.
Ross.
Pleasure to be here.
You don't look like any doctor I've ever seen before.
No, I think I'm coming down with a cold, actually. Can I get a checkup?
Really?
Sorry, I'll control myself.
Behave, young man. Behave.
But yeah, so I actually come from a family of doctors. My dad's a doctor, 2 of my sisters are doctors, and my mom is actually our office manager. My brother's a physician, so we have a family practice in Gary, Indiana.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So how did you land your role on The Doctors?
Well, you know what? I've been doing media, particularly sex and relationship-related media, for probably about 10 years now. So when I finished med school, I really started a program on sexology. So I became a sexologist, and so I was doing a lot in terms of HIV prevention and sexual health education.
Okay.
And so the radio thing morphed into a TV thing, which morphed into the national show, The Doctors. So it's really kind of neat.
So sexologist.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was something like that.
See? You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
So I'm a board-certified family medicine physician and a sexologist. So not only do I treat heart disease and diabetes and hypertension and obesity, but I also treat sex-related issues.
You have sexologist on your business card?
Yeah,
You do not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've got to get one of those.
So is it true that people in your field have the best sex life because they know all the tricks to the trade? In general.
Maybe. I would think so, because I think sexologists tend to be a little more open-minded than the average person, so it's probably the case. I would say.
For them, for most people, in general.
Yeah, no, that's how you said it.
In general. Let's fast forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so how has being on the show affected your family practice, and when do you have time to still practice?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, technically we tape on Thursdays and Fridays out in Hollywood, and my practice is in Gary, Indiana, and I live in Chicago, so I'm really kind of doing a commute thing. So I spend half the week at home and half of the week in Hollywood, and so when I'm home, I try to cram as many patients as I can within 2 days. So it's just kind of a fly-by thing, but I'm enjoying it, and I think it's really fantastic. I mean, for the patients to come in, whether it's a teenager or an older lady, to come in and they're just so proud that here it is, that their doctor is on TV helping millions of people with their issues. So it's nice. It's nice.
Like working with the real-life McDreamy.
Travis is really cute.
Pretty dreamy, yeah.
He's really dreamy, and he's really kind, too. So it's kind of an interesting thing. What you see on TV is really kind of what you get. So it's kind of different. I expected him to be kind of cocky, kind of arrogant because he's so handsome, but he's really a cool, fun guy, and he actually has rhythm. He can actually kind of dance. He does do a little bit of the white boy dance, but for most part, he is on beat every time.
Oh, I like him even more.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about breast cancer really quickly.
Yeah,
it's a serious issue. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
What do we need to know as women regarding the disease, and what sorts of things can we do to help at least put ourselves in a better position to combat the disease should we ever get it?
Sure, and as African-American women, I think it's really important that you keep a couple things in mind. That one, when we are diagnosed with breast cancer, we tend to have a worse prognosis than Caucasian women. Another thing that we have to keep in mind is you have to think about your family history, and I want women to kind of think about that in terms of all illnesses and diseases. What's my family history? Do any sisters, any moms, any aunts have breast cancer? And if so, that means that you're going to have to start getting screened a little sooner. And then the third thing that I think is important is that we have to keep in mind personal risk factors. And some of those things are drinking more than two glasses of alcohol a day will increase your risk of breast cancer. Having any extra weight or obesity, fat actually is related, having extra fat cells all over your body is related to an increased risk of all cancers, particularly breast cancer. So what we need to do is focus on staying active, staying healthy, reducing the amount of processed foods that we eat, kind of eating closer to the ground, like I say, healthy, fresh vegetables and fruits, frozen vegetables and fruits, and healthy lean cuts of meat, and just really kind of paying attention to our family history and keeping those doctor's visits. Those are going to be the main things that we need to think about as women as we go through this kind of navigation process.
But not only women, it also affects men as well, though, right?
It does. Breast cancer is something, and in African American women, is the #2 leading cause of cancer-related death. It goes lung cancer, then breast cancer. And for men, breast cancer tends to go silently unnoticed because when guys go to the doctor, there is no breast exam that we do regularly. So what I encourage guys to do is get to know their bodies just like women. You know, you're going in your armpits, and this is for women too, you go in your armpits and around your breast tissue at least once a month and feel for any knots or nodules. And men, keep in mind too, family history. If they have a family history of breast cancer, then that means that they too might have an increased risk of it. So it's a lot of things to keep in mind, but I think as we go through life, these are the things that you want to go forward with.
Absolutely.
Those are great tips.
Great advice.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here. Come again soon, okay?
Anytime.
And for more tips, check her out on The Doctors. All right.
You're watching Arise Entertainment 360.